Here we go. Hit me with your best shot.
Hey folks, so as some of you know who follow me on other forms of social media, I was at the Women's March on Washington.
Oh, he's so excited. Here's what I'm not excited about. Curves. Everywhere the curves on your face alarm me. I will mention it off the bat here. So the sloping of the shoulders always an ongoing problem, but this ear, I mean, it's really the fact that this ear doesn't look like this ear. It looks like they're two ears for two separate human beings who are unfortunate. And you look at the curvature of that. So you see the folds of skin there. Think of how just chubby that is. To like, if you grab that with two fingers, you could play with it. It's just like Play-Doh. I mean, look at that. That little flesh umbrella there is so wormy, so disturbing. And then watch the nose. The nose is like, hey, we're heading this way. No, 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 we're not. We're heading over this way. What? What? This looks like if you drew a line following the curvature of that, it would be like warning, windy road ahead. One of those signs. And then you always have this renegade piece of, I don't know if it's hair or just a shadow, a birthmark. It's detached from the rest of his eyebrow. So he doesn't really manscape any of this. And he's got this grotesque beard, which he thinks, and that, of course, the, mildewy hat. And it's just, uh,
On
look at this. The ruler is at an angle. It used to be the broom. He's all about leaning large things against walls. What the fuck is he doing with a yardstick? Just what?
Saturday, and it was an amazing experience. It was one of the greatest days of my life.
One of the greatest days of my life. Yeah, I could imagine that. So you are surrounded by a bunch of SJW fucks, and you're just loving it. And you're hanging out with Christy Winters and other feminists. It was the most feminist party ever.
Can't express to you how encouraging and invigorating it was.
Oh God, say it again, Steve.
Invigorating it was.
Oh God, I love it when he pinches his eyes like that.
Invigorating and
look at that. Ooh, it's invigorating. You can tell he means it because he made a scrunchy face.
Invigorating it was. I'm going to show you some footage that I shot while I was there. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have my beautiful new camera that I'm shooting this on with me for a number of reasons.
Do you think it's going to be vertical footage? If it's vertical, I will not watch anymore.
The organizers and the DC Metropolitan Police.
Where was the DC sniper when we needed him?
Had asked that no one have backpacks in the march for security purposes, and my camera bag.
So you came with your fanny pack. Look how excited he is. He's just, let me tell you all about the women I was just hanging out with.
Is a backpack, and it's a little bigger than the size limitation that they impose. So I did not take my nice, beautiful Canon 70D camera.
You said that twice in a row. Dude, move on.
I took my much smaller handheld.
Third time he's telling us the fucking same thing.
Camera.
Tell us about the mundane details of your various different cameras, Steve.
So the video that I'm going to show you that we shot on the day is...
Wait, is it from the other camera, not the good one?
A little shaky in parts, and it's terribly framed because the camera doesn't have...
Terribly framed, yeah. I apologize for the cinematography of me holding up my fucking iPhone.
I have a rear-facing camera, so when I'm shooting myself, I can't see what the shot is. So I apologize.
So wait a minute. The quality that I'm seeing right now is based on the fact that you can see your ugly mug and frame the shot. You're a filmmaker, Steve. This is a guy who thinks that he has a YouTube career. And he's like, I use new media. I use social media, but I'm an editor and I'm sort of a comedian, storyteller. I wear a lot of hats. Actually, I wear one hat. It's the same hat.
Thanks for that in advance. But I'm going to show you a few minutes of the footage I shot with myself.
Okay, you're prepping me up, dude. My butthole is lubed up sufficiently. Now play the damn thing.
And Christy Winters, who...
Oh, fuck. Now it just clenched up.
...was there with me as my my protest.
My partner in crime was Christy Winters and her fat, squinty-eyed face.
Buddy. And then I'll come back at the end to give you some...
pearls of wisdom? Some
sort of closing thoughts about the Women's March, at least closing thoughts for this video, because I'm going to be talking about it a lot.
I got a lot of footage to go through. It was, for God's sakes, it was a woman's march. Of course, Steve Shives, the king of all male feminists, is going to be there, and he's going to be talking about it and virtue signaling. I was there for the women. Somebody, please, I hope I'm in a photo there. It doesn't matter. I took photos and was filming the whole time just to make sure that you, me, and everybody, my grandchildren, we're all going to know that Steve Shives was in D.C. for the Women's March. We get it, Steve.
In the days and weeks ahead, because as hopefully you'll see from the footage, and as hopefully I'll get across in this video, it was a hell of a day, and it is going to be a huge source of motivation.
Huge.
For me and for a lot of us.
Look how serious he is. I'm motivated. I'm going to give you the best off Monday ramble you've ever heard. Okay, the next time I field a question from a Star Trek dork about Star Trek dork shit and give a 10-minute rambling, incoherent response to it, I'm going to do it with a little pep in my step. So be ready for that. Exciting.
Going forward. So check out my home movies.
Let's have a chuckle together, Steve.
It's March on Washington.
Hey, so
I'm out. I'm out. Oh, Lord. Christy Winters, just look at her little fat chipmunk face just poking up into the frame. Steve, why isn't this framed well? Why isn't this high quality? Explain it to me for a 10th time. She's wearing her vaginal pink hat. Hey, it's us. Let me tell you where we are. We love women. We're against rape. Oh, we're special. We're great humans.
we're at the Women's March, me and Christy Winters, and we've been mostly standing, and then we marched for about, what, half an hour or so, 45
fast.
minutes, something like that, yeah. And now we found a nice space sort of away from the main crowd, and...
Is it safe?
I mean, this is some shit.
Yes, it is some shit. It is some shit. Look at her face. Her eyes, that's as open as her eyes get. You see that? You have to crowbar them to get that open. Look at those little olive or oval shaped little things, or almond, I guess. What is it? What is that shape? It's shaped like a igloo, I want to say. I don't know.
I've never been in. I've been in a couple of protest rallies. I went to the ones in London, which I thought were
That's the worst framed shot ever. Just eyeballs. The eyeball of the feminist.
packed, and this just tops that. It's amazing.
It's,
phenomenal.
yeah,
I got to use this as background footage. This is just priceless.
it's,
This is a video featuring the bush in the background.
yeah, it's real. I've never been to a proper protest rally, so Christy was telling me I'm sort of starting at the top, and if I go to some more, it's going to be a while before I top this one, because it's the turnout. If you're not here or you weren't here when this happened, you can't fully appreciate
How many blocks?
how many blocks,
of people?
how many people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Yeah, that's a big movement. And this is representative of an energy. So it's not just this one rally. It's not like these people are going to go home and not continually be against Trump. So that energy, how does it work? Well, it works in votes. It will work in votes in 2 years and in 4 years. It might work in an impeachment. It might work in funding for various things. So if he's going to defund Planned Parenthood, these people and this energy is going to refund Planned Parenthood. That's the kind of thing. It's going to organize. There's going to be more of these. This is going to be an ongoing crusade.
The atmosphere too. Like, people were stood in the same.
Was there a bald guy in there? Hold on, let me see that. I think I spotted myself. Look at this. White male just lost. He was like, shit, I was just getting a Subway sandwich and all of a sudden I got cornered.
The atmosphere.
What is it? Men of... I gotta read some of these signs. No white trash in the White House. Well, he is trash. I mean, white trash is not really what you'd call a billionaire, but yeah, I get what you're going for there.
The atmosphere too. Like, people were stood in the same.
Men of virtue? What is that? Men of something. I guess it's a city, maybe. Support gender equality. Okay, who doesn't? Equal rights for all. Yeah. Now, what is this? See that? Why do you got to jam religion in there? First of all, there's nothing equal about these three religions, and calling them religion is really a loose. I mean, one is a political movement and a religion, and is like 1,000 times more violent than the other two. And in terms of population, Jews, who gives a fuck? Jews are 0.2% of the world, and incredibly small and productive and amazing percentage of our country. So, and then is that a wheelchair guy? I don't know about that, man. Jesus, you're just trying to stuff as much virtue into one.
Same spot for 4 hours and they were still in a good mood. They started to get a bit fed up.
There were some gripes and complaints, but for the most part, I mean, we were peaceful. We were
Yeah, I heard there was no arrests at this thing.
happy. It's remarkable. I was when I was
We all got together and we all felt important together in unison. So yeah, it was heaven on earth for Steve.
walking in, which feels like forever ago.
Oh, Christy, time with you flies because I'm just having it's actually the best day of my life. Think of that statement. The best day of my life was spent with Christy Winters. Steve, what the fuck have you been doing your whole life?
Hours.
You feel like you hear people sort of saying things while you're marching. And there was a lady, I think it was actually while we were waiting to use one of the porta-johns, and there was a lady who walked by.
Porta-johns? I've never heard that. Porta-potty. Porta-johns. What is sexist? Why are you calling it a john? What is this?
And I just heard her say in conversation to one of her friends, "Oh, I saw the most lovely painted vagina."
Phrases you never hear.
And this delighted you? What, a great rendition of a vagina? And it's like, yay, we get to talk about vaginas and make vaginal art.
I assume she was talking about a sign of some sort, but you don't know. I mean, who knows?
I mean, the number of homemade...
Okay, hold on. Leave no sister behind. Okay, this place matters. Uh-huh. Our rights aren't up for grabs and neither are we. Yeah, that's good. I get behind that. I mean, fuck Trump. Anybody who's going to go out and fuck Trump, or say fuck Trump, not literally, I'm behind, so I'm down with it. And this headgear is a weird thing, but they're going with it, and it seems to be bonding them, so...
signs. I know that several groups were going to hand out signs, but I haven't seen a lot of the stock signs. Everything
Just
is someone's own expressions, what they care about, everything else. So it's been a fabulous, fantastic day. It's really
Nice video footage, Steve. You freaked out. He spurged out on us right there.
made yesterday a distant memory.
Oh my God! Talk about, and I probably especially for you because you were actually here. I wasn't in town for the inauguration, but it's that whiplash of having the deepest shame about your country, the deepest sort of the lowest point when one of the worst things that our generation will probably ever do with the election of Donald Trump, and then flipping it to such hope.
Yeah, well, I don't take credit for the election of Donald Trump, so I don't feel shame for it. I feel embarrassment a little bit, but no personal shame.
Such activism today.
Yeah.
It's really and this is the day after.
Right.
This is the day after the darkest day in recent American history. And here we are.
Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, get back in the game.
I just want to show you something. Just take a look at this.
Oh.
Can you zoom in to show how far back that crowd
Yeah, let's do that.
You gotta go by the fence, because that's all people waiting to get out into the street.
And we've been sitting here for
10
about
minutes?
10 minutes.
And it's not
And before
stopped.
that, we were marching for maybe an hour total, and we had another break.
Man, that food truck is making bank. I bet a lot of money was exchanged here. It was a cold day, it looks like, but I guess it wasn't raining, and people still came out. God damn it. That is pretty cool that they organized it. And it started by some grandmother in Hawaii started this with like a little community group on Facebook or something really modest like that. And then it just took off and they spread and women's groups picked it up. And I mean, the biggest protest in American history, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Where we sat for about half an hour. This is still the number of people streaming down Constitution Avenue. And this is a feminist march. So the next time...
Well, it's a women's march, so don't try to commandeer the word women into being feminist. All women must be feminist.
You hear anybody, whether it be on YouTube...
Oh, we're on YouTube now, so you're talking to a YouTuber.
Odds of that happening. Or anywhere else, especially if it's in some hall of power like Congress or your state legislature or on TV or whatever.
I think I almost prefer him without seeing his nose and mouth. The less parts of his face that I see when he talks, the better.
Tell you that feminism is not a mainstream issue, is not a human rights issue, is a fringe movement.
Yes, the whole point is in the language, Steve. You and your variety of feminism is garbage. Women's rights, no, I am totally behind them. Literally, You should see the number of women I've been behind in my life. So that's not the point. And the defunding of Planned Parenthood and this whole attack, this crusade that Trump and his right-wing clownish idiot brethren are going up against abortion is terrible. Abort that. Abort Trump. Fuck these people.
Is about female supremacy, is about robbing men of their rights, is about problems that don't exist, or problems that are just in the past, or whatever line of horseshit they try to feed you.
That those things are all legit, and they've been explained to you ad nauseum. Go look up your own name online. And each time you try to take things from the past and smash them into the present. If you're just talking about legit issues, then fine. But they're few and far between. Now, with religious zealots in the White House, yes, there's a new attack on women. And it starts with abortion. And it starts with the fact that he is a sexual assaulting rapist who has a fucking mail order Russian bride and who jokes about, dating 10-year-olds in 10 years. He's a creepy fucking abusive boyfriend that we don't want. So yes, there is a grotesque feeling when you just talk about Trump. But all these other issues, you're still wrong when you talk about certain things, Steve.
Don't just show them this video. Show them all of the videos that all of these people around.
And I like how Steve is just appealing to popularity here. He's just like, hey, there's a bunch of people that showed up here, and I'm declaring them all to be feminists, so everything I've ever said is right. You doubt me? Go look at the size of this crowd.
Here are taking that are going to be posted on their Facebooks and their Twitter and YouTube. Look at all of these people. Look at all of these people.
How could all those people be wrong?
That are here for a feminist march.
No, they're here for the women's march. You might have a point if it said feminist march. It doesn't mean you're right. The point that a bunch of people showed up for a feminist march. But that's not what happened. Look at the name, Steve. It's on your own video, Women's March.
Washington, D.C., and you don't dare let anyone try to tell you that this is not a mainstream humanist...
I'm telling you. Human what?
Political issue.
Humanist political issue. You just changed your whole point. You said it was a feminist thing, and that feminism should be mainstream. And everything I've ever said about feminism is relevant today because look at the people in the street.
That affects the lives of everybody here. Anyone who tells you that is either ignorant or they're lying to your face. Don't stand for it.
Look at him. He's really high and mighty right now. Oh, look, we're in a transition. You see this? It's going to a little circle transition here. Watch this. Production value.
If there was one lesson that I take away from the Women's March,
it is should have worn a catheter.
Actually the same lesson that I took away from the First Reason rally in 2012.
Should have brought an umbrella.
And that is to everyone who is a feminist, who is someone who cares about social justice.
Oh, that looks like a cow's butthole. A gaping cow's butthole. Who cares about social justice? Oh, you know what I love about the concept of social justice? It puts the person who's bitching about it in the role of the judge. So they say, I want social justice. You say, well, what do you mean? Well, I want there to be justice in society. Okay, well, who's going to determine that? Me. I'm the judge. I tell you what's what. Here's what I want. Up with women, down with white men. Good night. Thank you.
Who cares about pay equity? Who cares about
pay equity? See, and he just talked about, look, if you're talking about defunding Planned Parenthood and infringing upon women's right to abort, then I am put the fucking pink hat on my head. If you start talking about wage gaps, you instantly lose credibility. So, Steve, are you not watching my videos? Listen to yourself.
Religious equality and religious pluralism. Who cares about
religious plural? No, I'm against religion. Aren't you supposed to be an atheist? Fuck religion and fuck pluralism. What religious? No. We should be, first of all, isolating Islam as the unique threat that it is, acknowledging that it's a fascistical movement. It's a political movement. It's more than just a religion, and the religion is completely different. Second of all, we should be, okay, if you want to be like, oh, freedom of religion, you could feel free to be totally wrong and to be regressing society and being an anchor on human progress. Yeah, bro, go for that. Yeah, that's fine. But then let's move on and be like, oh, but you're also totally fucking wrong. And you should stop doing it, and I'm against you people. That's the more relevant point. God, do I want to drop kick this face.
Productive rights, who cares about
Yeah, women's reproductive rights. That's a legit point. And you're not getting credit for that, Steve. It's not like you just brought that to my attention. I'm aware that we should be protecting women's reproductive rights. That is an issue that I would vote every time, every political campaign. I don't care what other issues, anything else, foreign affairs, taxation, economics. If you say you're pro-life, I'm out. I'm fucking out. I say abort everyone. That should be the default setting. You have to pass a goddamn test to not get aborted as a fetus.
refugee rights, who cares
Refugee rights? What? What is that? What does that mean? It doesn't even exist. What are you talking about? They should be on their hands and knees thanking us for saving their miserable lives, their brown, pointless lives. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. God.
about police brutality. And
he's on a crusade, man. Is he just like randomly accessing parts of his brain just to come up with every possible cause? Police brutality? I love how he skips over crime and murder and rape. Aren't you against rape? You bitch about college frat bros raping chicks. How about talking about who's raping women in our country? Who actually is doing it? It's the same people that are bitching about police brutality. That's a little clue for you.
and racial inequalities.
And by the way, refugees don't have a really good track record with rape either. Racial inequalities? Oh, yeah, here we go.
In the criminal justice system. And
The racial inequalities such as black people commit more crime. So there's inequality there. You understand? Not as many black people commit crime as white people. That's not equal, and I believe in equality. So how can we stop that? Well, I don't know. Decriminalize the stuff that they're doing? Maybe. Or blame the prisons? Blame I don't know. Blame whites? I'm not sure.
and in law enforcement. Anyone who cares about issues relating to marginalized people.
No. Anybody who says marginalized or disenfranchised or socioeconomic or geopolitical or nuance, there's going to be a list of words, like the forbidden words, that just absolutely send me into spasm. And that's one of them. Marginalized. I can't believe it's not better.
Oftentimes when you come on the internet, it can
When you come on the internet, is that the new way of saying fapping? I just came on the internet.
feel like you're outnumbered.
Yeah. Steve is like, look, I am in the thick of it here, guys. Okay? It's just me against the world. You got these big guys picking on me, but I know I am righteous. And I am on the right side of history, and I am fighting the good fight.
It can feel like you're alone. It can feel like people who are your enemies, people who seek to vilify and denigrate you, people who try to abuse and harass you, people who try to silence.
Silence you? What? Nobody's trying to silence you, Steve. You silence everybody else. You block everybody on Twitter. You filter every comment. There are no dislikes on your goddamn video, Steve. You're living in a cocoon, a safety cocoon.
You and chase you away. It can feel like they are much larger and much louder and much stronger.
They are louder, larger, and stronger. They are. And it's not that they're harassing you, Steve. You're not a victim here. You're a dunce. Okay? You're a flat-out dunce. And we're showing you your duncity.
Stronger than you are. And if you've ever felt that way, or if you feel that way now, my lesson to you is...
Wait a minute. I disagree with the premise that you could teach me anything. So please, Professor Shives,
you
tap the brakes. You what? Are you talking to me? You must be talking to me.
are stronger than they are.
It's a motivational speech from Shives. You can do it. You can do it.
There are more of you than there
Yeah, I saw a huge crowd. This is like Trump logic. There was a big crowd. It was huge. It must have been the biggest ever.
are of them.
Oh, technically it's right. You basically said that every woman is a feminist a second ago because they showed up to the women's march, but you called it a feminist march. So there's 51% of them. So yeah, there are more of them than us. Turns out we're on the same side, Steve.
You are not alone.
What is this, suicide prevention? Steve, when I see videos of you, I want to be alone.
That is the thought that I had at the Reason rally in 2012 when I was surrounded by thousands and
Great, so your thought has not advanced. Great. Try having new thoughts, pal.
thousands of my fellow atheists. That was the feeling.
Oh, God. Every time he swallows, just that moisture battle going on in his mouth.
Times 1,000 that I felt on Saturday at the Women's March on Washington when I was one tiny, tiny speck in a crowd of hundreds of thousands of people that were all there for one of the largest public demonstrations in the history of the United States.
This guy's having a virtue-gasm right now. He's just so excited. I was a part of history. My life matters now. Yes, I'm back in the laundry room and wherever, Ohio. I don't know, where's this guy from? Who gives a fuck? Rust Belt, just like some city I'm never going to go to, basically.
Which, if you add the Women's March on Washington to all of the sister marches that took place in
sister marches,
other cities around the country, like in LA, where they had 750,000, in New York, where they...
What if Steve just mixed it up and went to a men's rights march? And he said, you know what? You know why I'm here? It's because I believe in the cause of people who are, what do you call them? Marginalized. So, the men's rights, they have a couple good points, and I want to get behind them. And I want to lend my support. And why don't you make a video of that, Steve? Why are you obsessed with feminism? Obsessed. Absolutely. Is it because you're married to a feminist who has your balls in a vice-like grip? The same way that the dudes from Goodfellas had that dude's head in a literal vice to the point where his eyeballs came out? Your testicles are coming out in the same manner.
500,000, maybe even more, where it was present in cities. There were, I heard an estimate, something like 700 cities all over the world. An estimated total of 3 to 4 million people attended women's marches yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
One of the largest demonstrations.
The guy's like acting like he's high-stepping around, going like, I told you so. I told you I was right. There's 4 or 5 million people that agree with me.
In the history of humanity.
Oh my God, you grandiose delusions of grandeur. Okay, the history of humanity. Here's what Steve does during his day. I don't know what you guys did this week. Steve took part in a movement that was the greatest protest movement in the history of humanity. What did you do? You were eating a bag of chips and playing with yourself and smelling your fingers after rubbing your cock. Nothing.
You are not alone.
You are not alone. I am here with you. Isn't that how it goes?
You are not alone. I was surrounded by people on all sides yesterday. My friend Christy Winters was...
Yeah, and the juggalos, the gathering, they're surrounded by people. I mean, what does that mean? That means you're in a mosh pit. A vaginal mosh pit.
Was right next to me.
Hashtag it.
There were other friends of mine who were in the crowd who unfortunately I didn't get.
And is he about to say he met new people? And I met new friends. It was wonderful.
Didn't get to see, didn't get to meet. There were so many of us.
We are legion.
It was so positive, and it was so uplifting, and it was so strengthening and motivating.
Motivating for you to do what? To carry on and bitch about the same issues that you've been doing for years? I mean, what?
If you weren't there,
It motivated me to play make-believe with my wife with stuffed animals.
You can only imagine what that felt like. And standing there amongst all those people, and then sitting there on the steps of the National Archives, where just through a door behind me sat the founding documents of the United States.
God, he is now dorking out about Washington, D.C. You could say that about any time you visit D.C. You know, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, they walked these streets. Okay? This is history, people.
Very documents that define the rule of law.
The very documents were misogynistic, Steve.
That gives all of us here in the United States the inalienable rights that unfortunately many of us have still had to fight for.
Yeah, well, what about the rights of aliens, Steve? They're marginalized.
And win through long battles, both politically, socially, sometimes unfortunately violently.
He's a pacifist.
Very documents that guarantee our rights, in which we...
Yes, Steve, it's very poetic. It's very dramatic the way you're framing this. We get it. You were in D.C. There are documents in D.C. Gotcha.
We have fought to defend for so many decades.
We? Wait, you have been defending this for... Oh, no, not you personally. Okay.
And here was I and Chris...
Here was I? That cannot be right. Here was I.
And hundreds of other people sitting on the steps of the building where those documents are housed, and
here I be,
marching down Constitution Avenue in an unending stream.
Of urine.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of people from all over the country.
So this video can be summed up with, Steve is impressed by numbers. A lot of people, so yay, it was awesome.
And I watched that, and I shot some footage of that, and
Yeah.
I realized that we have serious problems in this country. We have a long way to go, especially
We got a new problem, a big orange new problem, yes.
these next 4 years. We have a lot of tough battles to fight, but we can do this.
Oh, this is just a cry from Steve, a cry to arms. It's just, guys, rally the troops. Get in this foxhole with Steve Shives. We're doing it.
Now, it needs doing. We have to do it. We can't just say, oh, good job on the march, everybody. We really made a difference, and then go back and rest on our laurels. We have to do it. We have to do the work.
What work?
But what Saturday showed me, and what I now know without a shadow of a doubt, what I have such faith in,
You're an
is
atheist.
that we can do it. We can do this.
We can do it.
Trump is no match for us if we unite, if we have unity in our diversity, as we had on Saturday in Washington and all over the world at all of the sister marches all across the globe. If we come together,
Do you think he's erect right now?
there's nothing that can stop us.
Except for Sargon of Akkad, Carl, and or the Amazing Atheist, or anybody who does a response video to any one of your bullshit videos.
And I can't tell you how good I feel. I can't tell you how happy I feel.
Euphoric.
And how privileged I feel to have been a part of it.
Male privilege, white privilege, or social justice privilege?
I'll remember what it felt like
Till the day I die.
to be in Washington, D.C.
See that? He thinks this is like the moon landing.
and to march down Constitution Avenue in a crowd of thousands, and then to look, to cross an intersection and look 1 block over on Pennsylvania Avenue and see that there were people marching and filling that street too, and to look the other side.
2 streets, people. 2. Count them.
And look down the other block on Independence Avenue and see people marching down that street too. Our street was full. The 2 streets on the other side were
What are you not understanding? There was 3 streets involved here. 3, count.
full. You look at those aerial photographs. The National Mall was choked with people.
Choked. Whoa. I think you just promoted rape culture.
It was extraordinary. It was extraordinary. And
Wrap it up.
I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it.
Oh, never forget. The Jews talk about the Holocaust. Steve talks about never forget when those 3 streets were filled with people. Oh.
So don't feel like you're alone.
Why is this acting like it's an intervention for some just depressed feminist out there? He's just talking them off the ledge.
Don't feel like you're outnumbered. Speak out.
He's actually talking to himself right now. A lot of people do this. They're kind of slow and they're very shallow-minded. And he's talking to himself, but that's kind of awkward to do in public. So he has to pretend like he's addressing somebody else, but it's his own id.
Act out. Go to demonstrations. March. Call your congressman.
Paint vaginas.
Write letters. Organize. Run for office if you feel moved to do that. And don't forget that there are a whole lot more of us.
Oh, that's a face and a half. Screen cap. Oh, print screen. Look at that. And there is the bovine anus. Look at the juiciness. I mean, you know you could just penetrate that. And it's sliding right in there. No lube required. Wow.
Whole lot more of us than there are of them.
Yes.
And if we stick together on this thing and we support each other, we're going to win.
Win?
It's only a matter of time.
Winning. Feminists don't win anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's time to make feminists win again. Jesus, Steve. Sound like Trump.
We're going to win. You're not alone.
What?
We'll never be divided. The people united. We'll never be divided. The people united. We'll never be divided.
I like that. People united will never be divided. Coming off one of the most divisive elections ever, and we couldn't be more divided if we tried. But those people, yeah, your little group, it will not be divided, sure. And they are rallying together, and it's inspiring to see such energy. So I like that. I like that aspect of it. Obviously, I'm having a good time roasting Steve, but he means well. You know, there's worse people in the world than Steve Shives. But not after that screenshot I just took. That might change my mind. Hold on, let me see what I'm dealing with here. There it is. There it is. Now let's get a zoom in. Yeah. So I leave you with this zoom in into the abyss. We are on the event horizon of Steve's anal lips. And yeah, those are the pixels that make up the dark hole that spews forth nonsense. I hope you have a good night. Bye. And scene. So, how was that for one take, Tracy? Hello, Chrissy. I just unloaded on Steve. It's fun though. Devon, do you think Christy Winters would be better for Steve Shives than his current main squeeze? Ideologically, probably yes. And you know, he's been with the same woman for years, and she's been getting fatter every year. So, well, I mean, Christy's been doing the same thing. Should we start a GoFundMe to raise money for Steve to file for divorce? No, I think he needs. I think he probably is into like S&M, or he wants something radically different. He doesn't. You don't go from your fat wife to Christy Winters. You got to switch it up. Yeah. Let's see here. Devin, what happened to the archive for streaming? I got a strike because Raphael recommended I stream the NFL game, and I did that, and then I got a strike, and now I can't stream. Correct. You figured it out. Love it. Thanks for the stream. Ooh, interesting. Hello. Let me get a sip of water here. I might take a break. Watch some shit on Netflix, and then come back. I might post that video actually. I think I like that. Amazing video as usual. What was it? Which vid? Thank you. One take, Tracy at it again. That literally is one take though. I mean, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but like in terms of coherent thought and off the cuff remarks, you can't fake that shit. And you see a bunch of people script stuff and they try to edit something together, and it's like, watch them live stream, and then you'll know who the person is. Take a road trip with somebody. Don't go on a first date with them. Take a road trip. Day 3, you're in Oklahoma. You're at a gas station picking up onion rings. That's when you know who the person is. You know what I'm saying?